In this video, let's take a closer look at why executive coaching matters today. I mean, do we really need executive coaches? Do we really need people in corporations and industries and ministries to help leaders and teams? Well, I believe the answer is yes. So let's take a closer look. A leader's greatest blind spot is often themselves. Do you agree with that? I know I do. I encourage people to challenge me so that I can grow, so that I can evolve in my leadership, in my skills, in the way I treat others. I want to be better. I know there are things that I can't see. I know there are things about you that you can't see. And for that reason, you need a coach. You need a guide to someone to help you, get you from where you are to where you want to be, and at the very least, help you to see those blind spots, those pesky blind spots. Let's continue. They can't clearly and objectively see the weaknesses in their own lives. And that's a reality. I can't see my weaknesses as clearly as someone else can. And as we work together, we can definitely identify those challenges, those weak areas, and we can strengthen them with the help of an executive coach. This is precisely why executive coaching isn't a luxury, not at all, but a necessity. This is needed. It's an absolute necessity. It's the critical outside perspective that helps leaders identify and address those issues to unlock their full potential. This is what we have to do. We have to help people to identify the issues, address the issues, talk about the barriers, talk about the obstacles, talk about what's getting in the way. And then together, we build a plan to achieve their goals. This is why executive coaching matters, because leaders need trusted partners to walk with them on this important journey. According to Forbes, the first step in removing blind spots is to acknowledge that they exist. I love that point. It's so clear, so simple. Once you accept that you have blind spots, you can start to actively work on identifying them and taking steps to address them. And this is where executive coaching really matters. You walk with clients, you help them to identify the blind spots and the obstacles. And it's not to judge them, it's to move forward and move beyond them. It's to build a sustainable plan to help your clients excel and accelerate their performance. That's what they want. They don't want to stay stuck. They don't want to hit the ceiling in their leadership. They don't want to be stagnant in any way, shape, or form. They want to move forward faster. And that's why executive coaching matters. Many leaders want to make impactful changes in their professional and personal lives, but they need what? They need help. They can't do it on their own. If they could do it on their own, they would have done it by now. That's why it's important to have a certified executive coach. Executive coaching is designed to evoke change in these leaders. How? Through bold action. So this is what we're doing as executive coaches. We're coming together as partners. There's not a hierarchy here of anything. We're coming together as equals and we're working with our clients. We're serving them because we know there's a change they want to make. And oftentimes what happens in the coaching session and in the coaching process, they discover that they really want to make this change now. They don't know why they've been procrastinating. They don't know why they've made excuses, but they have come to understand, I really want to do this and I want to do it now. But you as the executive coach, what do? You come alongside, you identify the barriers, you understand the context. But the main thing is not the context. The main thing is the person in front of you, the client. So what do they need from you? They need you to be fearless, courageous, authentic, have integrity, and challenge them and evoke new awareness. And as you do that, they're going to so appreciate you as a person, as a professional, as a trusted partner. Because this is what most executives need. This is what most leaders need. They often operate in isolation when they wrestle through these things. A trusted coach comes alongside and he encourages them to do more. It says here below, executive coaching is designed to evoke change. Evoke change. How do you evoke change? Through bold action. You're walking with them. They know you've got them. They know you're walking alongside. So they have the confidence and they have the plan to move forward and make a difference. According to the 8 critical elements of organizational life, executive coaching is one of the key strategies recommended to support leaders as they shape and manage their organization's culture. Key strategies. Executive coaching can help leaders develop the skills and mindset needed to create healthy and productive workplace cultures. So it's not only having a plan, but it's having the right mindset. The coach can do that. The coach can walk with the client and help them to formulate the right mindset to reach their goal and hold them accountable and challenge them. This is what executive coaching does all day long. Leaders, what do they need? They need coaches they can trust. For what purpose? To move them forward. They don't need experts. They don't need advisors. They don't need consultants necessarily. They just need someone they can trust, someone to walk with them. That's what executive coaching is all about. And that's why it matters. Executive coaches help leaders to develop a growth mindset, moving forward, moving higher, accelerating change, accelerating performance, overcoming challenges, overcoming obstacles. According to research by Carol Dweck, a Stanford University psychologist, people with a growth mindset tend to be, I love this, more open to challenges, more resilient in the face of setbacks, and more motivated to learn and improve. That's worth repeating. So let's repeat it. People with a growth mindset tend to be more open to challenges, more resilient in the face of setbacks, and more motivated to learn and improve. How do you establish a growth mindset? With a guide, with an executive coach, with a trusted partner. And sometimes all leaders need is one person they trust to tell them, hey, let's do this together. You're not alone in this. Let's do this together. This is confidential. This is a partnership, but this is a partnership of growth. And if we're going to grow, we have to be willing and open to have a growth mindset. That's what leaders do. That's what executive coaches can do in the life of the leaders in whom they serve. In coaching, we are equal with our clients in our relationship. In other words, this is a dialogue of equals. We're partners. We're working together. We're a team. We become one with our clients. In my book, The Coaching Advantage, I reminded people that executive coaching and coaching as a whole helps leaders to do 3 things: move forward, lead confidently, and number 3, accelerate performance. That's what leaders want to do. They want to move forward, they want to lead with confidence, and they want to accelerate performance. It doesn't matter what they're leading or who they're leading, that's what they want to do. In my book, The Coaching Advantage, I wrote, what got you here won't get you there. What got you to the level of sustainable success that you're experiencing today is, notice, totally insufficient. Totally insufficient to get you to the next level of success you want to achieve tomorrow. And I've coached some great leaders, and maybe you have as well in one way, shape, or form. But they won't get to that next level unless they have a trusted partner, unless they have an executive coach to stimulate their thinking, to evoke new awareness, to challenge them to do more, to think higher, to think outside the box, to not be afraid, to take greater risks. That's why executive coaching matters today. After working with exceptional and highly capable executive leaders, here's what I found. It's one recurring theme. They do a great job leading from their strengths, but they seldom take the time to honestly evaluate what keeps blocking them from reaching their next level of success in their personal performance, with their teams, or in their family life. They're doing something really well, but they focus on that, hyper focused on this, but then everything else, well, starts falling apart. They neglect their family, they neglect their health, they neglect something else. What do coaches do? What do certified executive coaches do? We look at the whole person, not only their professional life, but their personal, their relationships, spiritual. We look at all these things collectively because collectively they affect the person, they affect the executive, they affect the leader. That's why coaching matters. That's why executive coaching is different because you take into consideration the whole person. If they want advice, okay. If they want consulting, that's fine. If they want training, that's fine. But executive coaching and coaching as a whole focuses on the person, the whole person. Executive coaching, what does it do? It helps leaders to clarify, keyword, clarify their current reality. How do they do this? Well, here's some simple questions we ask in the coaching session. What's true about this right now? What else is true? What's your end goal? What's important to you about this now, right now? What keeps getting in the way? What have you done about this issue? What else keeps getting in the way? What else have you done about this issue? We're clarifying, seeking understanding, not for our personal benefit, but for the client's benefit. Help them to define what they mean. Help them to clarify what's really going on. This is how we really serve our clients. Executive coaches, what do? They help leaders to improve their communication skills. As you work with clients, as you walk with them, they get clearer on what they're trying to accomplish. They're defining their goals, they're defining their desired outcomes. You're challenging them to clarify, not to muddy the waters. And in the process, what happens? Not only do you improve your communication skills, but your clients improve their communication skills as well. As I've interviewed student coaches, one of the things that I've discovered is that in this process of becoming certified coaches, executive coaches, life coaches, the coach themselves, the student coach, becomes a better communicator. And then in the process, they help their clients communicate more effectively. Executive coaches, what do? They help leaders from all walks of life, move from good to great. You remember in the book by Jim Collins, Good to Great, you remember that he talked about these organizations and how they are so different when compared to the others. And they've gotten to these high levels of productivity and efficiency and impact. Well, it wasn't accidental, not at all. They applied several different components and they leveraged this flywheel and all these things that he talks about in his books. Well, what happens when you begin to learn the principles of coaching, apply the principles of executive coaching? What happens when you begin to help leaders and executives and team members in your workplace or other business owners? What happens? Here it is. You move them from good to great in their personal and professional performance and potential. You make a significant difference in their lives. Listen, this is why executive coaching matters. Executive coaching does so much more. It focuses on helping successful people just like you overcome, this is key, overcome recurring obstacles and disempowering mindsets to move them from good to great in their relationships, in your relationships, throughout your business, throughout their business, and with your most important goals and their most important goals. A key point here to mention is this phrase, disempowering mindsets. We all have them at different points in our lives. The coach, the executive coach, what do? They help them move from a disempowering mindset, one that prevents them from moving ahead, accelerating performance, leading with greater confidence, to an empowering mindset. Now they can move forward. Now they have more confidence. Now they can actually make things happen. What do you do as a coach? What do we do as coaches? We help people flip the switch. We help people get on the other side, if you will, of the mountain. We move them and move with them from a disempowering mindset to an empowering mindset. How do you do that? You do that through effective coaching. And with leaders, you do that through effective executive coaching. 99%, this is huge, 99% of individuals and companies who decide to hire a coach, notice, they are satisfied or very satisfied. And 96% say they would hire a coach again. That's staggering. 99%. When they hire them, 96% say, hey, I would do it again. Why? Why does it matter? Because people are moving forward and they've realized I've waited so long. I've been stuck for so long. I haven't moved my life forward. I haven't moved my business forward. I haven't expanded. I haven't gone into new markets. I haven't introduced new products. I haven't done these things. What's holding me back? What has held me back? This is why an executive coach matters, because they point out those things together with their clients. As we've said before, what are the benefits of executive coaching? 70% increase in individual performance. What stands out? Goal attainment, clear communication, higher satisfaction, all research backed. More benefits of executive coaching, 50% increase, 50% increase in team performance. What have they discovered? Well, quite a bit. Here it is. Better conversations, improved collaboration, enhanced work performance. People get better, leaders get better, organizations get better. Benefits of executive coaching, here they are once again. 48% increase in organizational performance. What are the markers? Increase in revenue, increase in employee retention, customers as advocates. You win more customers, you retain more customers, and now your customers are promoting your business, your organization. They are your biggest fans. That's how we reduce costs. That's how we increase margin and profitability. That's how we thrive individually, corporately, as leaders. This is why executive coaching matters today. And there are many different metaphors that we use to describe coaching. We say coaching is like a journey, a partnership. It's a mirror. It's a catalyst, a compass, a sounding board, a bridge builder, a GPS, a co-pilot. All of these things really relate to one main thing: It's a partnership of equals. It's helping our clients, it's helping other people to perform at their best. And what happens in the process? You, as you learn, as you study, as you become a certified coach, if that's your next step, you grow, you learn, you get better, you thrive, you accelerate performance as well. Coaching, according to John Whitmore, is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance. It's like we say in golf, right? You're primarily competing against yourself. You're trying to maximize your score by lowering your score. Sure, you may be competitive with your partners on the golf course, but in the end, you're competing against yourself. John says coaching is unlocking a person's personal potential to maximize their own performance. It's helping them to learn rather than teaching them. Remember, you're not a teacher, you're not an advisor, you're not a consultant, you are a coach. Why does executive coaching matter today? Well, I think you already know. Leaders and teams and individuals and organizations, they need a trusted partner, a collaborator, someone who they can trust with their most precious information, personal information, private information, struggles, and trust them to move them from where they are to where they want to be. But it's not a forced move, it's a collaboration. And better said, walk with them, move with them, because that's what coaching is. It's moving with your clients. It's walking with your clients, whether they are a VP of operations or they're a supervisor leading their teams or they're an employee. You can help people maximize their personal and professional potential. And what happens in the process? People get better, leaders get better, the company gets better, and the impact is greater. Why do executive coaches matter today? Because trust is one of the most valuable things that we can give people and they can give us. And when there is real trust in a relationship and there is real competency as a coach, what you can unlock in the lives of others is truly limitless.